considering everything that went wrong just a week ago against Vanderbilt and what was a 31-7 loss for South Carolina, the Gamecocks found themselves in about as good of a spot as they could have been entering the fourth quarter here in Columbia, Missouri against the Missouri Tigers on Saturday. South Carolina had a 2-point lead heading into the final 15 minutes of the game, just one more quarter away from quieting a lot of the doubters, the naysayers, just proving people wrong, going into a hostile environment, a sellout crowd, blackout, crazy environment, and pulling off what would have been a real stunner of a win. And, unfortunately for South Carolina, things just did not go the way they planned. A lot of mistakes throughout the night, a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda beens, but at the end of the day, South Carolina made too many errors and miscues and mental mistakes in this game as Missouri came back to win 29-20, handing South Carolina its second straight loss, and now the Gamecocks are 0-2 to start SEC play. We'll get back to the big picture here in a little bit, but again, like I said, South Carolina, I'm going to be quite honest, guys. I really feel like South Carolina had every opportunity to win this game. So many chances, but time and time again, despite some of the good things they did in this game, I thought at times the offense looked pretty good. I think there were some good things to come out of this game, a lot of bad things as well. But I mean, just every time South Carolina did something good, one step forward, two steps back. You have a lot of penalties in this one, 14 of them. 6 of them were pre-snap, false start penalties. That can't happen. That's inexcusable. I genuinely just don't get it. The noise is one thing, but for these penalties to continue to happen over and over again, it's an issue. You could say the same thing about the missed tackles. I mean, Clayton White was talking to the media the other day about how South Carolina had their most missed tackles in a game so far this season against Vanderbilt. That was just 7 days ago. And I don't know what the numbers are on the missed tackles yet, but I can assure you it's going to be a lot higher than whatever the total was against Vanderbilt. I mean, it just felt like every single possession that Missouri had the ball. I mean, they ran for a ton of yards in this game. I don't even have the final tally on me, but I mean, again, this is a type of game where South Carolina in the Beamer era, under Shane Beamer, whenever they've come to Como, they've allowed 200 or more yards on the ground, and they've lost every single one of those games. Coincidence? I think not. Carolina, just for whatever reason tonight, despite, trying to wrap up, I don't know if we could really call it that, but it just felt like they could not bring guys to the ground. And Ahmad Hardy had a field day running the football for Missouri, and he's a dangerous running back, and he showed that tonight. Now, there were some situations as well where I think the offense, at times they were good, had a few moments in the first half. Again, Lenore Sellers threw a really nice pair of touchdowns, one to Vandrevius Jacobs on a offsides penalty for 49 yards. And then there was one to Brian Rowe where Sellers was just rolling, 3 straight completions. The last one goes to Rowe for 24 yards. First career touchdown as a Gamecock. That was way earlier in the first half. But there were so many other mistakes this offense made. The big one in particular I think is really going to stick out to people is midway through the third quarter. I think South Carolina had, I could be wrong on this, so I apologize. I think Carolina had maybe a 5-point lead at the time. Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was 17-12. They had a chance to really add to the lead. They had just gotten a really big throw from Sellers down to, I think it was at the 3-yard line of Missouri. First and goal. And what does South Carolina do? Or much less, what does Sellers do? Instead of handing the ball off, running up the middle 4 straight times, the first play, first and goal. Again, I can't believe I'm saying that. It's first and goal, and they didn't hand it off. Ran a pass play. Sellers dropped back. It was like a play action. He got sacked, I think, for a 13-yard loss, and then a penalty happened, and Carolina is finding themselves just having to kick a field goal to get some points on the board, and that's extremely disappointing. I did ask Sellers what happened, and it was kind of just one of those things where he was dropping back. He should have thrown the ball away, he said, and he just didn't. And when I asked him, do you feel like you guys should have ran the ball right there? He said he didn't know. It was just the play they had, and they thought it was going to work, but clearly it didn't. And I feel like that was probably one of the bigger momentum swings in this game, because at the time you were winning in this game and you got a field goal. Okay, you got 3 points on the board, But let's be real, guys. That should have been a touchdown. You should have been up by 2 scores midway through the third quarter. Shut this crowd down a little bit, and who knows what happens. And it was just one of 5 sacks that Sellers took tonight. I think a little bit of it for sure is on him, and his just, for whatever reason, the decisiveness was just not very good tonight. Sometimes you just got to throw the ball away. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses and move on. But also some of it was just on the blocking up front from the offensive line. So, I mean, look, there's a lot of blame to pass around, but I think everyone kind of played a part in it. And, that's without mentioning the defense. I mean, the defense missed, again, so many tackles in this game. There was that 99-yard drive early on in this game that gave Missouri the lead right out of the gate, which just so many silly mistakes. Again, the missed tackles, the penalties, it all adds up. And when you look at all the things that went wrong for South Carolina tonight, again, there were a few moments where things were going good. Again, they had a lead going into the fourth quarter, but mistakes prevailed in this game, and you make so many of them, you're not going to win football games. So South Carolina has now dropped 2 straight SEC games to begin conference play. Gamecocks will be back at home next Saturday to take on Kentucky, 7:45 p.m., SEC Network, Williams-Brice Stadium. But it leads us into the bigger picture now, because the Gamecocks have, this game coming up against Kentucky. And then right after that, it's 5 straight games against ranked SEC opponents. That's brutal. I mean, you got LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. We talked about beginning of the year, is South Carolina a playoff team? Are they going to win 10 games? Can they build off of last year with what they did last year with 9 wins in a 9-4 season? Guys, I think right now we're probably talking about, is South Carolina going to make a bowl game? It's still early. Shane Beamer teams notoriously have started off pretty slow over the years, but this is another season where you're 2-2 right now. You got Kentucky, like I said, a game that you probably should win. But then after that, I mean, where do you find the wins? Coastal Carolina, Clemson? I'm not sure. A lot to discuss in more detail from this game. Again, we're just scratching the surface. So I will be going live tomorrow night, Sunday reset. Once I get back from Missouri, again, I'm flying out of St. Louis tomorrow afternoon. So we will go live tomorrow night. I'll have a time on that. Again, we'll hear more from Shane Beamer tomorrow in his Sunday teleconference, 5 p.m. We'll have live updates on GamecockCentral.com. Plenty of more coverage to come from this game. Plenty more thoughts as well. Again, you guys can hear me as well on the radio, 107.5 The Game, from 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. Reaction Monday, we'll have a lot to discuss from this game. But it was, to kind of close this thing out, this was a game I really feel like South Carolina had. They should have won this game, and they beat themselves. That's the moral of the story at the end of the day. So once again, the Gamecocks lose 29-20 to number 23 Missouri here on Saturday night in Como. For GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.